Now the question is, the Apkoso people of Ghana, are we Togolese? Because we've heard it said by some people, if you go online and when you speak to some people from the OT region, they think or they have the belief that the Apkosos in Ghana are from Togo or we are Togolese. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, owing to this calculated or rather miscalculated attempt to create a misconception that we are Togolese, we deem it necessary for us to educate the public on the geography of the OT region. Up until 1956, the area now called OT, where the people of Apkoso, much like the Nkonyas, the Bwens, the Krachis, the Nchumurus, the Likbes, Lolobis, occupy, used to be Togoland. It was German Togoland, which later became British Togoland, and then Transvolta Togoland. Subsequently became what? The Volta region, and now OT. It is therefore infantile and a grave display of ignorance of the history of the Volta and OT regions, as well as the general history of Ghana, for anyone to claim that Apkosos in OT are Togolese. All records on the Ghana tribes and languages list Ewe, Apkoso, and Adele among the tribes and languages of the Volta region and now the OT region. We wish to set the record straight that the Apkosos are no less Ghanaians than the Bwens, the Krachis, the Nkonyas, or the Lolobis or Nglipes. In fact, we the Apkosos are host to most of the other ethnic groups that live in the OT region, because our ancestors were on this land before the arrival of most other tribes. As I've indicated, that history has it that we were here even before the 1300s. How is it then that anyone would refer to the Apkosos as Togolese? We have attached historical maps for your reference. We want to state unequivocally that there are Apkosos in Togo and Apkosos in Ghana. And the fact is, there are more Apkosos in Togo than in Ghana. But before the Germans annexed the area encompassing what we now call Togo, and most of what is Volta and Uti, and made it a German protectorate, that way back in the 1800s. The Apkosos had lived in the area. We had already been living in the area before the Germans arrived and annexed the area to Togo and what now became Ghana. The evidence is found in the book titled, it's a German book, so there's evidence in the German record. When you translate that record, it is General Hand Atlas in 86 maps with explanatory text. Okay, this atlas lists that present-day Bwem, Rara, Tapa, Bori, Kejebi, Asatu, Apkosokubi, Apkosokabo, Apkoso Alefi, Apkoso Obeve, Apkoso Anyelesemu, and all these people, which are located in the Republic of Togo, was generally referred to as Boso areas, Boso speaking areas. That is what the German records actually indicate. This is a clear indication that the Apkoso people were the predominant ethnic group in the area long before it became Togoland. This is to say that at a point in history, in the history of the Bwem, Rara, Tapa, Bori, Kejebi, Asatu, Apkosokubi, Apkosokabo, and other areas which became part of the German Togoland, including Krachi, Dambai, and Kwanta. These people are Apkoso areas. They were inhabited by people who spoke Apkoso or the Apkoso language. Now, Apkoso is much like the Ewes and Nchumurus and Adeles and Kevu. We're among the ethnic groups that have been split on colonial lines. The boundaries after the Second World War, the German Togoland was taken from Germany, and we all know this history. And so this area was annexed, and that is how it became the British Togoland. If the area was British Togoland, how is it that because my ancestors lived in an area which used to be called British Togoland, and which is now part of Ghana, I am a Togolese. But other people whom I hosted on my land are Ghanaians, are more Ghanaians than me. This is the irony of our situation. Assuming without admitting that after the occupation of the area now called Oti in the 1914, after the World War I, the British and the French, and its subsequent division, by the British and the French, assuming that all the people of Apkoso went to the French zone, assuming that after the World War II, the whole area went to the French zone, the British demarcations and history of the area would not list Apkoso as being part of the British Togoland. But all records point to the fact that a portion of Apkoso remained part of British Togoland, while the larger part reverted to Togoland. Now, is Apkosokubi an Akan town? Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is a very important issue, and it's important because in recent times we have seen people parading themselves as Akans from Apkosokubi who are subservient or related to Asante, and all kinds of things being thrown around in the air. Now we wish to state categorically that Apkosokubi is not an Akan town. Apkosokubi is an Apkoso town, and the ancestral home of our forefathers. Prof. K.B. Dixon, in his book, writing about the history of Akans in the Volta region, indicated that the wars such as the Gonja, the Dahomeyan, the Ashanti, and the Akwemu wars in the late 1700s is what drove Akan refugees and remnants of war to seek asylum in the Buin country. So if Akans came to the Volta region or the Oti region at all, they came in the 17th century. They came because of wars. And Prof. Dixon continues that at the time they arrived on the land, the place was already inhabited by our ancestors. So they came to meet us. So if there's any Akan in the Volta region or in Oti, they are latter days people. They are the last of any group to have settled in the Oti region. At the Ajimambedu Commission sitting, the report of the District Commissioner for Pando, which was reproduced at that sitting, indicated that the Apkosokubis are Apkosos. In fact, there is a gentleman who called himself, who went by the style and name Nana Katabwa, who claimed to be an Apkoso chief of Apkoso people. The people who now claim to be Akans in Apkosokubi. Now, Nana Katabwa's lawyer at the Ajimambedu Commission indicated that the people of Apkosokubi are, strictly speaking, not women. They are Apkoso people. This is the lawyer of somebody who purported to be an Apkoso person. And the lawyer says that the people of Apkosokubi are what? Apkosos. So Apkosokubi is not an Akan town. Whether Apkosokubi or Apkosokubi, it is one and the same. And the only reason why we're having two different spellings is because some people cannot pronounce Apkosokubi. Now the question is, the Apkosokubi